Alrighty, another beautiful oak quarter sawn table with some serious flecking and nice choice on some quarter sawn pieces here, but in need of a good refinish. Only a couple of splits in the top, mostly just dry splitting from being dry. And we've got a beautiful tilt mechanism. This is quite a large table for a tilt. Check this out. Patented, or they tried to patent it. I mean, just pop it like that. Licensed under Tilt Top Company, patent applied for. So they applied for it, but I don't know if they got it. Anyways, other than that, we've got some very interesting, beautiful oval bases, veneered oval bases, fairly simple legs. And this mechanism here, these little swivels, when this comes back down, they lock over these pieces and keep it down. Couple things, we've got issues with the tracks. That gap's not supposed to be there. Both of the locks are not working, and the table won't actually close together. So, other than that, basic refinishing and repair, and probably some new casters. These ones are broken and missing, a couple of them. But yeah, really cool table, and I'll continue to show you stuff as I find it. That's the biggest tilt top table I've ever seen. After growing up in my dad's restoration shop and learning everything he knows, I'm continuing on with the business in my own shop. And after 25 years, I can truly say I love this job, and I just have to share it with you. Whether it's a priceless 300-year-old hand-carved piece of history or just an ordinary table or dresser, I pour my heart into each and every piece a customer brings me. I'm Trena, and this is John's Furniture Repair. Okay, so I've got the table upside down here on the workbench. So I just popped some temporary screws in here, so I'll take those out and get these bases away from the table, because we're gonna have to take everything apart on this table. Everything needs help. Okay, and then on the other side, it's fairly simple to dislocate the base from the top, as I showed you before. We just got these little swivels that go over the piece here, so when we swivel them out of the way, then this can just lift right off. These two are locked together, so I kind of have to take one off before the other, even though the lock isn't really working very well. It still is kind of jammed in there. Here we go. Yeah.
And over here, there's only about half that width.
Wow. Alrighty, so I got the tracks off and the locking mechanism. Look at this, guys. This thing has been moved a lot of times and been dragging a screw with it once in a while, gouging out the bottom of that table. All this hardware has been moved before, so none of these skirts are in the right position. I think the table probably has shrunk quite a bit here. So if you look, the table can't really close quite all the way, but this is definitely one of the issues. We got skirts hanging over the edge of the table and butting up against the other skirt, not allowing the table to close. So we need to take off all these skirts as well and reposition everything, because it's just not working. These are these slotted hold downs that I tried to use in a video a while back. We didn't have enough wood to use them, but I like these, allows stuff to move. So I'll get these skirts off and we'll reposition everything. We might have to cut, I'm not sure. So let's see what we come up with. Alrighty, so I've got this positioned right now where the table can close almost, but if you see here, there's quite a bit of a ways that we need to bring it in. This is where it's supposed to be sitting, this mark. And the overhang is affected if we don't bring it back in. So I'm gonna cut probably an 1/8 inch off of each piece here. There should be a small gap so the table can close all the way without this interfering. So I'm just going to mark a couple of lines to reference a cut off of each side, and then just a little bit at a time to see if I can get it to come back, because we want this overhang here to be a little bit more even. It's definitely very slim here where it needs to push in, but it can't. So I've got this tabletop, all the stuff taken off. The skirts are fitting nicely, but the tabletop still had a really large gap. So I ended up sending it through the jointer here. And now we've got a nice fit. We'll have to repin the top because we had to take these guys out. But it is a little bit warped here. When we get everything back together, I'm gonna see how severe that actually is. But we've got everything fitting nice and tightly. No more gaps here. So I'm happy with that. Now, turning our attention to the tracks. One is fine, one is not. If you remember underneath that big gap that was on the one, this board here is the worst board I've ever seen somebody use to build a track out of. It's got knots everywhere. And because of that, it's twisted and warped and not great at all. We've got a large section of the track missing here. This is supposed to run through in a little T-channel like that. It's supposed to run right through here. Obviously, it can't because it's just gonna fly out of there with the pressure. So on top of that, it's just cracked right down where that knot is because that's a terrible piece of wood. So, just been talking about it with my dad. We are going to try to square up this board again to use on the track. The rest of the track is in good condition. Because this is a tilt top, I don't really want to replace the tracks. The ones they make today just aren't substantial enough to hold this tilt situation. And these are, you know, measured to fit between those two tracks, and I want to keep it that way. So basically I'm going to be cutting out an entire section of this track here and laminating in a new piece of wood. I'm gonna have to cut that T-channel in the table saw before we install the piece of wood because I just don't have a router bit that does that. And yeah, so this piece right here is gonna take a bit of time and effort and thinking to get it to work right again, but it's a pretty important part of the whole table, which is why I'm a little upset somebody used that piece of wood. Anyways, I'm gonna get on that first because I want to get that top put back together with the skirts before we do any stripping or repair. So I'm gonna send this through the table saw and get at it. Okay, so I've got this piece cut and I've got an angle here. So basically I just need to make another piece like this to go back on with the channel intact. So I've got another piece of maple here. That's what they're made of. And I'm just gonna start with cutting my angle so I can fit it onto here. Okay, so I've got that angle cut. It's a nice fit here. Could have picked a fatter piece. Geez, really didn't give myself a lot to work with. Anyways, next up I'm gonna cut it to width. Alrighty, so we've got the groove cut here on the piece. So we've got it to width, to length, with the groove cut. Just gotta line that up so it works. Looking good. So the last thing I would need to do is add these holes for the screws. So I'm gonna mark those out basically by using this piece and transfer that over, and then we can glue this on. I've got the skirts back on. These guys were particularly difficult. These skirts have a lean in, so I really had to pull the skirt up against that corner block that's glued to the side and to the table here. So I'm going to leave that for quite a long time so it has time for that glue to set, both sides. This side was worse, but that side I did the same thing. And amongst all the other repairs down here, I think we're ready to put the lock back on. I need to put it on a little differently because it was not working and bringing the table together. You can see a couple of our plugs here for that really torn out area. And pretty soon our piece that is the track that we're fixing will be ready to take out of clamps, do a final sand and detail, and then we will fit that back on. We also have to make another one of these guys. So we'll do all that before we get it back together and take clamps off. Alrighty, so I've got this track completely apart here. Basically all you do to take these apart is pull the little stops, which is just a little dowel here, and then one end will slide all the way out. Then you can see what's broken inside. So they have these leveler sticks, just supports it while it's open, kind of hits the block before the next one, and allows these guys to open all kind of equally. So a couple of these are missing, so we made these pieces. So I'll make sure to put those back in. And then we've got, this is an original, this is the one that I made. So we've got those ready to go back in. I'm gonna take these out. These, as you can see, are very dirty. So I like to take everything apart and give it a good clean, and then we're gonna go in with the Slip It compound. I'll show you that in a second. Right here. And we're just going to lubricate all the surfaces that are rubbing up against each other. But first, I'm gonna actually give these a very light sand. There's food, a little bit of terry wood fibers, some stuff stuck on. So I'm just gonna go over this area with the sander, and then I'll get in here with my hand sanding. And everything is a little bit warped. Nothing is perfect. Of course, this has that on it still. This one's the worst, the one that we're working on here. So there's our piece that we've spliced in here, and it's looking good. Just got a little stop in here. I'll take this out for now. And yeah, we're just gonna lubricate and clean both sides. Well, after many hours of, especially this guy here, taking it apart, sanding, jointing, fitting, fixing dogs, fixing splits, I've got it working. Not great. I think as good as a 100-year-old set of tracks with a warp in them can. So I'm gonna say that's good. I don't want to replace these tracks because of the tilt system. That would just be not a good idea, I don't think. So it can open and close with two people, and that's how it's going to be. And I'm going to just leave it at that. So everything is secure and tight in here. Got our clamps off here. Got the lock working really well. Pulls that nice gap tight shut here. And when you push this, it kind of pushes the table open, which is what these lock systems should do. So, other than that, I've got these guys back on here. You can see this patent stamp here a little better now that it's in the light. So we're on to the easy part, which is refinishing. and I've got it upside down here to do the skirt first. And I just wanted to show you how they made this skirt round. They just did relief cuts all along a board and then glued it and sandwiched it between two pieces of veneer. So that's one way you can do that. Anyways, yeah, I'm just gonna get this stripped and flip it over, strip the other, and that'll be the easy part of this table. Other than that, we've got the base is taken apart. It's just one bolt inside here, and the leg comes out, and everything there's looking pretty good. Not a lot of veneer patches on the one that I found, just a couple of loose areas that we'll get to before stripping, so we don't get stripper in there. So yeah, let's get to stripping. Make this thing beautiful now that it works. So I was lamenting that you can obviously see there was a label here at some point and it's gone missing. But when I remove this, there is a piece of it left there, and you guys can see that. It says Eaton Center, Saskatoon, Canada, which is where we are. So this piece was actually built, well, I don't know where it was built. It might have been built in Ontario, but it was sold in the old Eaton Center, which is a different store now, downtown Saskatoon. And it's kind of cool to see these old labels. You don't see those very often from here. So I just thought I'd show you that. I'm just taking these plates off, these mounting plates off of the base here and cleaning them up really good, kind of to that. And checking for any veneer issues as well. And there it is, all fuzzy. Anyways, and there it is, all finished up. Looking really good. Loving this color on this oak. Really beautiful mission style table with some quarter-sawn oak, some flecking, some tiger. Looks beautiful. And the shading that we've done really gives that base a lot of character. And we've got new casters on underneath because this is a splitting base, and I'll show you what I mean. Funny that I've done 2 of these in the last month. So we've got new antique brass plates on there, and we've got that track system fixed. It's working actually really well. And I'll flip this table up as I get the camera on a stand. But everything's looking really nice. Got a couple of dark finishes that we're doing in the shop this month, but I'm really loving them. Kind of a different vibe than what you see on the internet these days. Let me get this on a stand and I'll flip it for you. And here it is. Absolutely gorgeous. This is a really interesting design. You can kind of put your entire slab on display. It's actually absolutely beautiful. I haven't worked on one of these before. You can see this mechanism down here really well. It's basically just held up by this stay here. And again, these lock it in. We painted this up, and this lock, I just added a little wooden handle that painted it black so we can unlock it for splitting the table up like that. And a ton of work went into these glides. Most of the work happened down here where you don't even see it. So yeah, thanks for joining me on this one, guys. I really appreciate all of your views and comments, and for you just being here in this furniture restoration community. And I hope you enjoyed this and it helped you with your own projects. And if you want to support this channel and help me to make more of these videos for you to enjoy, you can buy me a coffee. The link is in the description below. Also, just thank you so much for being here and enjoying these projects with me. And thank you, Nessa, for supporting me emotionally. All right, guys, cheers. See you on the next one.